Hello everyone. So basically today you are going to interview a poet, an artist, an entrepreneur, and you will be glad that he started his professional writing at the age of 16. Just imagine it, okay? He is none other than Kevin. You will get to know about him. Yeah, I just woke up. It's 6:30 a.m. here, and because of Kevin, I am seeing this beautiful morning. Otherwise, he published his first full-length anthology uh, at the age of 22, and he already wrote two chapter books and had won outstanding book award from the American Education Research Association. Okay, so yeah, his he got this award for his contributions to the book Open Mic Campus Programs that champion college student voice and engagement. Okay, we will know more about Kevin. Let's add him.
Hello.
Hi, Kevin.
Oh,
How are you?
sensational, great. All the positive words I could probably say right now. How are you?
I'm good. How was your day?
Oh, a little bit busy. Overall, I work 9 to 5, and my day job is pretty hectic. A lot of things to deal with and stuff, but pretty overall pretty good. Can't complain. It's a Friday, so happy to
Yeah.
have my week.
Okay. You started professional writing at the age of 16, right? So why did you choose writing?
Yeah, I wish I could say that it was professional. That anything I was doing at 16 was. um, so I guess the best way to answer that question is I knew I kind of wanted to be a storyteller, um, at one point or another. And I wanted back then, and to this day still, I wanted to direct and all, write things of that nature. I just didn't know what to take first. And on top of that, I'm a very ambitious person, and writing a book is something that I thought was something that I couldn't do at that time in my life because it takes a lot of thinking, that's thought, all those things. I just thought that I just couldn't do. So I challenged myself to get better as a writer, and I wanted that to be something that um, I thought I would become a writer or have my first book or so published, later on when I'm like 50 or so, and have all this wisdom and things like that's what my initial plan was, thought would happen eventually, because I always wanted to tell stories and stuff. But it happened a lot earlier than that. I'll tell you right now. Despite the balding head, this is shaved. um, yeah, much younger than that, obviously. Yeah, so hopefully that.
Okay. So poetry was not an easy option. Okay, for me, basically, for me, I poetry is not an easy option to express emotions, right? So
Hmm.
why did you choose poetry? Is there any specific reasons?
Yeah. So a little bit about this. I was 16 at the time, so I had a girlfriend, and I thought it would be cute, like, on herself. I just wrote her like a poem, to show her like, hey,
Yeah,
I care about you.
yeah.
On our monthly anniversaries, yeah, that was a quote unquote thing. um, and I got a lot of positive feedback in school from when my teacher would review my poetry whenever I had to write or do some creative writing in class, that nature. So that's kind of like where I started from. And then after me and my girlfriend had broken up and stuff, I found
Uh,
it. So I just stuck with it. Specifically,
okay.
but yeah.
So your latest release discontinued a short film. Okay, the title is very attractive for me. Okay, I would love to read this book. Okay, so the poetries inside have maybe much more to offer. So what inspired you to write this particular book?
Right. So Discontinue the short film. I guess I'll start with the title and then I'll get into like, kind of like, so I love watching short films. I'm not as big of a cinematographer, probably want to be. I don't have that much time to um, watch too many movies and things of that nature. But overall, I was thinking about basically death. And there was a lot of going on at the time that I was writing this, primarily writing this as well. But when you think,
Okay.
at least when I experience short films, they leave me wanting to see more or to like learn more about the story. Past like the 15 minutes or so that we actually get to live and experience their world. It leaves me with a lot of questions and concerns, not concerns, but questions and like wanting to discover more and wish I had more time. And that's what any good story should do, which should make you long for more overall. But with that said, discontinued, when you think about that, it's like something stopped prematurely. And when you think about when people die before age of unnatural causes, when they die of unnatural causes and stuff, you can kind of see like everyone has a story. It's like kind of like sport, and that's very unfortunate. So the entire book itself is about dealing with grief and dealing with loss of like love. That's what it was primarily inspired by, especially with the time that I was writing it. It was like 2019, 2020, primarily.
Okay.
So what was going on, and there's so many things regarding the pandemic and society as a whole that were kind of like hindering people's ability to grieve properly and to find the support that they need, and as consolidating that into like kind of like a project itself.
Okay. So, can you read us a poetry from Discontinued?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Cool. So the name of the poem is Advertisement Interlude, The Pinch Pill, Coping for Dummies. Hello, are you currently struggling to make ends meet? Got too many bills like a McDermott huddle? Do you have too many thoughts circulating to fall asleep, twisting and turning in your bed because the same thoughts keep entering your head? Are you just not ready to take on even life's simplest responsibilities? And above all else, you feel like you need something to cope with everything? Well, you're in luck. Introducing the not at all revolutionary and totally counterproductive binge pill. With just one pill a day, you'll be able to avoid all of life's troubles while recklessly satisfying yourself with life's incredibly underwhelming indulgences. Not sold yet? Just listen to some success stories from some of our top abusers. Hey, it's your girl Trish, it's your girl Monique, and I've been taking the binge pill for almost a year now. Let me tell you how I've been catching up on all my shows. Desperate Housewives, Mob Wives, Real Housewives, Forgetting How to Be a Housewife, all of that and then some. Girl, I've been watching entire series in days, and I can pull an all-nighter of movies with no trouble. My man left me because I stopped paying him attention and started paying Hulu, Netflix, and YouTube Red subscriptions, but that's okay. I mean, it's not, and my heart is broken. But I don't need tissues because this is still better than the drama of dealing with all these issues. Don't have cable? No problem. We can still connect you with anything you choose to misuse. Hi, my name's Bill, and I've been taking the binge pill for 3 months now. And don't get me wrong, life is still shitty, but it doesn't bother me anymore. When I take the binge pill, I binge eat everything to overcome my incessant sadness. I eat pancakes, bacon, and eggs with my leftover steak, potatoes, mac and cheese for days, and still I can't get enough. I don't take a lunch break at work. No, I take 3 of them. My boss has damn near had it with me, and so has my wife and children. I'm eating us out of house and home while she cooks and bakes dinner and dessert alone. I even eat when I'm asleep. It's horrible but gloriful compared to confronting my issues constructively. What's that? Food isn't your thing? Well, don't you worry. We got other options that will still get the job done in a hurry. Hey, I'm Ted. I was worn out before I found out about these here binge pills. I was always working and stressing and wondering about everything, and I ain't like myself back then. The beauty is, I don't like myself now, but I don't think about it no more. I've been on these for about 2 years now, I guess. I sleep from sunrise to that near sunset. I've been sleeping like a baby. The type of baby that cries when they awake and throws them damn tantrums. I never know what day it is. Actually, every day is Sunday because the good Lord told me to rest, and that's what I do. I got too darn tired of working myself to death. I got up one day and thought, hell, I might as well sleep myself into debt. And true as the sky is blue, that's what I did. The sky's still blue, right? Still a little skeptical? Sleep doesn't do the job either for you, huh? Take my advice. We got a pill for every vice. Hello, it's Marie, and the pill has just changed my life in so many ways since it came out. I can't explain. For one, I'm a casual drinker. I drink so casually all day, every day. I even offered the officer a sip when he pulled me over. I thought it was a nice gesture, but he didn't take it so lightly. He searched me and found a lighter, cocaine, and traces of some PCP. Court was brutal. Rehab was harder, but hardest was the time spent dealing with my problems. I got back to binge drinking and drug use as soon as I was approved to go home. I don't ever plan to stop taking the binge pill. Even at its worst, it's still heavenly in comparison to dealing with what I was going through indefinitely. Find out yourself why 0 out of 10 therapists and counseling practitioners recommend the binge pill. Do not take if you are pregnant, may become pregnant, have heart problems, liver disease, high blood pressure, want to maintain a healthy lifestyle, want to have a healthy lifestyle, want to cope with trauma in a healthy way, want to cope and not avoid your issues in an unhealthy manner, care about your future, breathe air or need air to survive.
Oh,
And that's it.
yeah, that is beautiful. Beautiful.
Beautiful in a
Yeah,
way.
you recited it beautifully, right? So, how do you handle the hangover of your own poetry? Like,
Like my own poetry, my own poetics, my own poems, all of it.
yeah,
That's a very interesting question, actually. I don't necessarily have a great answer for it. I used to in the past deal with things like writer's block, quote unquote, a lot and stuff. Now, not so more. Now it's just something that I do more as the stress reliever, and I do it creatively as well. So it's one of my many goals. Every year I want to produce and publish a book, a full book.
Oh.
So it's something that I'm always working and striving to do. So as I complete the work that I do, it gives me pleasure in knowing that I'm working towards a goal and actually achieving something as well. So, it's just a process, and it doesn't really get on my nerves as much as it doesn't bother me as much as it kind of stressed me out when I was younger.
oh. So, how long does it take to write a poetry book? For you?
Yeah. The funny and more accurate answer, I guess, is it takes me somewhere between 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And the more I don't know if this is more accurate, but here's how my process works to give a little bit more clarity. So I work on a lot of different projects at the same time. It's literally I'll write about something, and then I'll create a storyline from it, and then I'll formulate a concept around some of the things that I initially write. That's what I try to do nowadays. In the past, I've kind of started off with more of a concept and a story that I wanted to write about, and then flesh it out in that manner or in that order. So I might write something offhand 3 or 4 years ago, and then I'll just be scrolling through, some of my past library of poems and stuff, and then I'll add it to a project that I've been working on that I know this is what I want to talk about. Here's the concept and stuff. So within the past couple of books I've released, and my first full-length anthology, some of the material was about 3 or 4 years old, but most of it was about, between that year that I initially started working on it to about 3 months before I actually published and stuff. So once I'm focused in on a project, it'll probably take me maybe 6 to 9 months, but it may include material that's 2, 3, 4 years old to some extent.
Okay. So, what are you currently working on?
So I'm working on a few projects. The one that I'm focusing and really honed in on and I want to release at the end of this year, full-length project, is called Skyscrapers right now, tentatively called Skyscrapers. What this project is about what it means to be successful and to live a successful life.
Okay.
So right now it's broken up into 3 different acts. The first act is kind of a young kid. This is taking stories. It's not like my past couple of works, the book Discontinued. a short film. This one takes from a lot of different people and a lot of different stages of their journey to create like a consolidated story overall. So it takes people's lives or different people's like current perspectives and opinions at certain junctions of life. Like some college students, some people who are in trade schools, figuring out what they want to do to be successful in life, like career-wise. Then like from 20 to about 45, people who are figuring out, well, maybe I want to switch jobs or roles, or maybe I've been looking about what I value the most in life. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong, and like figuring out, a little bit more in depth as they've been confronted with more of life's issues and responsibilities, their own perspectives and what they would like to strive for. And then the last act is mostly about like reevaluating, like, what did I do while I was alive? What were the things that I accomplished? What didn't I accomplish? Thinking about family and world building and community building and stuff like that. Causes like social justice. And then finally, like, looking back at your own life and saying, hey, was I successful? And what does that actually mean? So Skyscrapers is really about becoming like a top executive or someone successful. That's like the, I guess, metaphor that I use throughout it.
Yeah. So, how many hours a day do you dedicate for your writing?
Hours a day?
Yeah. Do you have any ritual
very-
like you can write only at the nights, you can write only in the mornings? Do you have such rituals?
Oh yeah, my writing happens, if I do any writing during the day, it happens sometime between like 8 p.m. and like 3 a.m. My time. So here's what happens. Typically, I'll have a random thought during the day, and then as soon as I have that thought, I want to like expand upon it more. I'll write down that thought. I'll put a few lines of like, okay, here's what the thought was. Here's where I probably want to go with it, and then maybe I'll write like a line or two that I initially came up with, and then I'll refer back to that. Maybe I'll get back to it in the same day, maybe a week or even a month or two later, and try to flesh out, a first draft about what I was initially thinking and kind of like get the ball rolling there. I don't write every day, which might sound surprising. Sometimes I write maybe like 3 times a week, maybe. But if we think about it, there's like how many weeks in a year? Like 52 or so. I'm sorry if that's completely off and I sound dumb, but if I write one poem every week, that's 52 a year. And typically my books are about like 45 or so, maybe 50 poems, give or take. So really I could write one a week and typically have enough content to put out a book. When we also factor in all that I've already written and that I already have in my library, and put out a quality book. So really I try to set realistic expectations for myself and really just like plan it out that way. So I might spend maybe an hour or two once I feel like I'm in a space to actually write. But that might not be every day. It might be once every like 2 or 3 days or so, or whenever I feel like I could write and I have time to sit down.
Yeah. So, do you show anyone your poetry right after writing?
Yeah, this is kind of like few and far between. I have a few like writer friends and people that enjoy what I read. So I used to also maintain a blog where I used to share pretty regularly and stuff, but I don't maintain that blog as much. I pretty much use that for like any key updates. So particularly my friend Samaya, she's an editor as well. She's probably one of the first people who I come to with new writings, things of that nature. Then one of my other friends, Ash, love her to death. I share with her regularly as well because she's a writer. This is going to be a ongoing thread. My friend who goes by the pen name D. Tran, also known as Jess Sheck, I share with her as well. And overall, I think that's pretty much it who I regularly share with before I actually typically publish overall.
Okay. So let's go out from the writing topic. Okay. So apart from writing poetries, what are the other things you think that you can do easily but others can't?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I wouldn't say that I could do anything easily, or more easily than anyone else overall. But some things that I also take interest in, I enjoy painting.
Okay.
Overall, I think that's even more so stress relieving, because when I write, I typically have the end result of creating something that I want to sell. Overall, when I paint, I'm not trained in it at all, and that's just typically for fun. That's something that I do, like just to de-stress, to get my own thoughts out, to do something creatively that I may not be able to communicate in words, but communicate on canvas, stuff like that. Let's see what else. I also do some image editing. Like I work with Adobe Suite specifically, so I'm adapted, and I've done a lot of work in Photoshop, Lightroom, stuff like that. Video editing, those things I find interesting. I haven't been able to do it as much recently. Photography I'm getting into, being able to, on the more front end type of things, like capture great quality images to then like produce and work along like the back end production type aspects and stuff. So those are some things that I find interesting, that I also do outside of poetry. That's kind of sort of creative. So yeah.
Yeah. So what is the worst? This question nobody wants to reply. Okay. So what is the worst book you have read till now? Did you finish it?
Yeah. I have a couple answers for this.
Okay.
So like I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. So I remember a year ago, I was in this group of writers, and I wanted to support some of the writers, etc. And this woman had promoted like one of her poetry collections or anthologies, and I bought it. I'm not going to give away the title of the book, of course, because that would be horrible on my part, but it has to do with birds and music, and in terms of like the title itself, without giving it away. And it was very lackluster in terms of like, I wasn't very interested in it. It may just not be my type of writing overall, but I didn't like it. And another one that I could actually give out the name, because this is a more widely published author, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. I remember reading that when I was like, I don't know, like a teenager, early teen, like 12, 13. And I enjoy pirate stories. I always thought pirates were interesting growing up. And with that said, I just couldn't get through this book. I think I read like 150 pages or so of it. And I thought it was just boring, and I wasn't that interested. It just never grasped me. Maybe if I were to reread it now, I would have a separate or different opinion, but I just didn't enjoy it. And if I read something now, or if I buy something, I really want to stick with it and read the entire thing, because I don't have that much free time on my hands. So anything that I buy, I have the express written consent or the express written purpose of trying to get through it. And if I can't, that's just terrible.
Okay. So, what is your biggest fear in life?
Another personal question,
Okay.
which is great. My biggest fear in life is not making the most of it. We're here for a short period of time, on this earth. So every day I wake up, I'm ambitious every day, and I want to essentially live life to the fullest overall. I want to make I want to like basically get all my goals and tasks that I need to get done, as well as like take time to enjoy life and enjoy like the finer moments of things overall. So my fear of not enjoying every moment to its fullest extent, and making the most out of the life that I do have during a short time that I do have here, is my biggest like motivating factor. That's what drives me every day.
Oh. So, what is the name of the book you are currently reading?
I'm reading a few different books overall. There's one that I got from my company, kind of like as a like a book for the month type thing. It's called Death of the Nile, by a really published and famous like author as well. So that's one that I'm reading on the I guess more on the less poetic, but like more of a book. I don't know how to like describe this actually. More of like a traditional book side of things. But I'm also reading a few other books that I got from attending some other like I guess workshops and spoken word events and things from some authors that I found to be interesting, key performers. One of which is called Academia, and one is called Shipping and Receiving overall. So that's what I'm kind of like working through right now in my free time.
Okay. So, any contemporary authors you follow?
Any contemporary writers, artists?
Yeah.
Yeah, so currently, I think one of my favorite writers and poets is Worcestershire, and I believe I wrote a anthology, actually. My first book is partly inspired by something that she had written that made me think about the nature of houses and what a home truly is and things of that nature. So she's been somewhat of an inspiration as well, or like has sparked some of my own thoughts internally and has shaped some of my work. I'm also a big fan of Alicia Harris as well. Those are kind of like two bigger names overall. Some people who I follow that I know somewhat personally as well, and I've been in the same circles with. Erin Perry, and also Nancy Reddy as well. I find their work to be very interesting overall. And I want to say there's someone else who I'm like blacking out on, and it's about to make me so mad because let me think about this. Oh, Rudy Francisco. How could I forget? I've seen him perform, and he has some of my favorite spoken words and poems like that I've ever written. So I follow him as well pretty intently. Then also my friend, who I believe is a much better writer than I am overall, and this is like all praise goes to her. I mentioned her a little bit earlier, D-Tran. She also goes by Jess Sheck, and you can find her on Instagram as Jess Sheck Radio. She's a great writer. I love like working with her and everything. And then also another friend of mine, Ash. She's actually in the process of publishing her first book as well, like finalizing that, getting the final editing stages done. So she's another inspiration of mine that I look up to as well.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions, okay? They are popular among the readers of KMZ Reads. So I ask these questions to all the guests of Creators Conversations. So first question, Nikita Gil, you might know, a famous poet on social media, once said in an interview, 8 billion people are living their life in 8 billion ways. So what is your way of living life?
Right. I addressed a little bit of this, but I also want to expand a little bit more as well. So, you know, I'm living my life without fear, without fear of failure. That was a lot harder to say than it was to think. So every day I'm striving for what I want. I'm identifying what I want in life and trying to accomplish it and taking things, you know, day by day and as easily as possible within reason and stuff. But also, like, my way of life, like, I want to just share compassion and understanding and sympathy and be the best person that I could possibly be. And there's a lot of things that are going wrong in the world. There's a lot of things to change. And I want to, at least from a personal standpoint, to not add on to any of the nonsense that happens and to have good character and to share understanding and to be compassionate and, you know, be a good moral individual and treat everyone with fairness and, you know, do good in the world overall. So that's kind of like my approach.
So tell us a secret of your life you have not shared with anybody.
Sheesh. A secret in my life. That's a good question that I haven't shared with any. You know, I think I've shared most secrets with at least one person.
Okay.
Or another. Let me think about this. This is going to be actually, here's something that is interesting actually, that someone might actually find super funny, because I was talking to one of my best friends about this, and they thought this was absolutely ridiculous. One of my biggest fears, and this is completely irrational, I have the biggest fear of killer whales,
Oh,
right? And one of my most common nightmares is me being stranded, like on an iceberg.
oh,
And the reason why this fear is so prominent and why those things like make sense together is I was watching a documentary when I was younger, and I found out that like killer whales, they actually like play with penguins or walruses, etc. So they'll try to like tip the iceberg and watch like the walrus or penguin, whatever, like actually like go up to the other side to avoid them, and then like a whole group of them will just keep toddling it over and over again until they actually just knock the thing over, and then go chase after their prey and kill it that way. So like from my perspective, that would be scary as shit if I was the, excuse my language, if I was the penguin herself, right? Like imagine like seeing the iceberg like tip from one side to the other and then slipping down, and then that's what you have to deal with, that big ass shit in the water. You know, that's scary as hell. So that's like a nightmare of mine, and my friends were like, this is so unreasonable, this will never actually happen. And I've been scared to like share that just in case, you know, someone who hates me that much might actually kidnap me and put me on an iceberg. So I actually relive my fear. But yeah, that's what's top of mind right now. That's a secret. So
yeah.
keep that between us, definitely, and whoever sees us on the internet.
Definitely. So there are so many readers of my blog who want to become like full-time writers. Okay, what will be your message to them?
Yeah. Listen, it's not everyone's a writer, to be honest. And if you don't believe so, you're psyching yourself out. I think that's my advice. With that said, if I could do it, you could do it. Trust me. Really, all it is like a process, you know? At first, there is no good writing. I'll say it over and over again. No one can write good. However, there is good rewriting. So what I would say is just like write down your thoughts, you know, form them, get them on paper, and then just revisit them. I revisit my work, like, quite frankly, a lot of the stuff that I initially draft is like subpar. It obviously doesn't meet my standard of quality, and that's good, you know, because as a writer, we know when to, like, we're experts, you know, in our own craft. We can always improve upon what we initially write and stuff to make a better finished product. And the more we revisit it, the better it gets overall. So I would advise everyone who doesn't think they're able to be an author right away to just revise their thinking and to think of writing as a process itself as opposed to the end result. Like if you continue to write, you'll write something of quality that's ready to be produced and published. So you write your initial draft, you edit it, tweak it a few times, review it, edit it again, finalize it, and then voila, there you go. You do that enough with enough pages. It may not even be poems. Like you just work on a page or two a day on a specific plot point for your book, etc. If you do that enough days, you'll have the finished product that you want that's ready to be produced and published. So that's my advice. Everyone can do it. Just start now and stick with it.
Yeah, thank you for so much for your time, Kevin. So your presence graced my blog. I hope you will come again and we'll chat more about life and books. So all the very best.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me on. I really do appreciate the time as well and giving me the platform to speak about something that I enjoy so much. So we'll definitely be in touch, and I can't wait to be in contact in the future as well.